My name is Noam Bannett, and 42 years ago on this day, February 11th, 1979, the monarchy of Iran ended. In this video, I'll tell the story of the Shah of Iran and the Islamic Revolution. Mohamad Reza Pahlavi was born on October 1919 along with his twin sister Ashraf. As a child, Mohamad Reza saw his father taking over the Persian Empire that we know today as Iran. But during the Second World War, he was exiled by the Soviets and Britain. The exile of his father made him king in the age of 22. In his first years as king, as Shah, Mohamad Reza wasn't that strong. In 1953, he even needed the help of the USA and the UK to overthrow a very strong prime minister, Mohammad Mossadegh. Mossadegh was a very popular prime minister in Iran and in the Middle East, because he said no to the United Kingdom and nationalized the Iranian oil. In 1963, the Shah launched the White Revolution, trying to modernize Iran. The Shah also tried to weaken the traditional system, like the landlords or the clerks. The Shah tried to build a new base of support of peasants and working class. In 1967, the Shah crowned himself as King of Kings, like the Persian empires. And in 1971, he had a huge celebration of 2,500 years of the Persian Empire. But I think it's a good time to stop for a second and talk about his great rival, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. The Grand Ayatollah that was born in the beginning of the 20th century in Khomeini, Iran, spoke firmly against the Shah and his policy. In one of his lectures, he even compared the Shah to the Umayyad Caliph Yazid, that his army killed Imam Hussein in the Battle of Karbala in 680. The Battle of Karbala is one of the most important events in Shia history. In another lecture in April 7th, 1964, Ayatollah Khomeini spoke against the capitulations that gave immunity to American military personnel. Khomeini was arrested, and in November that year, he was exiled first to Turkey and later to Iraq. In Iraq, he started to speak of the Islamic government and sent his ideas in cassettes, the podcast of the 60s and 70s. All this brings us to January 7th, 1978, when an article ordered by the Shah accuses Ayatollah Khomeini of being a foreign agent and other misdeeds. Thousands of people go out to the streets in Qom. Some of the demonstrators were killed during the clash with the police. And on the 40th day of mourning, Arba'in, groups in number of cities marched to honor the fallen. They also demonstrated against the Shah. A couple of them died. That started a cycle of demonstration every 40 days because of the dead in every demonstration. Two very important events happened in August and in September. In August, a cinema was burned and almost 500 people were killed. In September 8th, also known as Black Friday, when the Shah declares military law in response to the protests, about 88 demonstrators were killed. In Iran, more strikes and more demonstrations. In Iraq, Ayatollah Khomeini leaves Iraq to Kuwait and then to France. It's important to understand that the people in the streets were divided to many groups. There were Islamists, but also liberal and communist and more. Each group had their own idea of the day after the revolution. If you ask the communists, for example, how did they follow a religious leader? And the answer will be they wanted Khomeini to lead the way, and then they will rule the country. It's interesting that the group the Shah feared the most wasn't the clerks, it was the communists. The Shah also didn't understand correctly what was going in the country. He didn't really understand that he's losing the throne. January 16th, 1979, he left the country for medical treatment, but he never returned. In February 1st, millions came to greet the homecoming of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, coming back to Iran after 15 years in exile. 10 days later, in February 11th, the monarchy in Iran ends, and Iran becomes the Islamic Republic. What do you think about this video? Comment and share this video. Have a great day.